Most beginners spend a lot of time asking which investment is best. They compare funds, shares, platforms, charts, and headlines. But there is another question that can matter just as much, and sometimes more. Where will that investment live? Because the same investment can leave you with very different results depending on the tax wrapper around it. A tax wrapper is simply a special account structure that changes how tax applies to the money inside it. Think of it like a coat around your savings and investments. The investments are still the investments. Cash is still cash. A fund is still a fund. But the wrapper can change what happens when money goes in, grows, pays income, or comes out. Imagine putting the same letter into different envelopes. One envelope is normal. Another gives you a discount when you post it. Another protects it while it travels. Another has rules about when you can open it. Tax wrappers work in a similar way. The contents may be similar, but the envelope changes the rules around them. Tax wrappers can sound boring because they are not exciting, like picking a winning stock. They do not make dramatic headlines. But investing is not only about finding returns, it is also about keeping more of the returns you already earned. A sensible wrapper cannot rescue a bad plan, but a poor wrapper can quietly reduce a good one. To understand wrappers, focus on 3 moments. First, what happens when money goes in? Second, what happens while the money is growing? Third, what happens when money comes out? Almost every tax wrapper is just a different answer to those 3 questions. Some wrappers use money after you have already paid income tax. Others may let you contribute before tax, or may give you tax relief afterward. This first step matters because it affects how much actually gets invested. If 2 people earn the same income, the wrapper rules can change how much each person gets to put to work. The second moment is growth inside the account. Investments can grow through price gains, dividends, interest, or other income. In an ordinary account, some of those gains or payments may be taxable. In certain wrappers, tax on growth may be reduced, deferred, or removed entirely, depending on the rules in that country. The third moment is withdrawal. Some wrappers let you take money out tax-free if you follow the rules. Others tax withdrawals as income. Some allow flexible access. Others are designed for retirement and restrict when you can use the money. This is why the best wrapper depends on purpose, not just return. A helpful way to think about personal finance is the wrapper stack. Before choosing investments, you decide which container is most suitable. Emergency savings may need easy access. Long-term retirement money may fit a retirement wrapper. Medium-term goals may need a more flexible account. The wrapper comes before the investment menu. If explanations like this help make money topics feel less confusing, consider subscribing. This channel is about turning finance jargon into plain English, one concept at a time. Now, let's go one level deeper and look at how the main wrapper types usually differ. The simplest container is an ordinary bank or brokerage account. There may be no special tax shelter. You can usually access the money freely, which is useful, but interest, dividends, and gains may be taxed according to local rules. Ordinary accounts are flexible, but they may not be the most tax-efficient place for long-term wealth building. Some countries offer wrappers where money goes in after tax, but growth and withdrawals can be sheltered if the rules are followed. For British viewers, an ISA is the classic example. For American viewers, a Roth-style account has a similar basic idea. You do not usually get a tax break up front, but the future treatment can be very attractive. Another common type is the tax-deferred retirement wrapper. Money may receive relief or go in before income tax, then grow without being taxed each year inside the account. Later, withdrawals are often taxed. This can be powerful because tax is delayed, and because the contribution may reduce tax today. The trade-off is access. Retirement wrappers are usually designed for retirement, not for next year's holiday or house deposit you may need soon. If you lock money away too early, tax efficiency can turn into a cash flow problem. A good wrapper choice respects both tax and timing. For American viewers, the Roth versus traditional choice is mainly a question of tax timing. Roth style means paying tax before the money goes in, then potentially taking qualified withdrawals tax-free. Traditional style means getting a tax benefit now, then usually paying tax when the money comes out. Neither is automatically best for everyone. A simple way to frame the choice is to ask whether your tax rate is likely to be higher now or later. If your tax rate is lower today, paying now can make sense. If your tax rate is higher today, deferring tax can be valuable. But nobody knows the future perfectly, so many people use a mix. For British viewers, the common stack often starts with cash for emergencies, then ISAs for flexible tax-sheltered saving, and pensions for retirement saving. Pensions may offer valuable relief, but come with access rules. ISAs are usually more flexible, but contributions come from money that has already been taxed. For American viewers, the stack may include checking and savings accounts, workplace retirement plans, IRAs, Roth accounts, taxable brokerages, and in some cases, health savings accounts. Each wrapper has its own eligibility rules, contribution limits, investment choices, and withdrawal rules. The names matter less than the tax pattern and the purpose. One feature that deserves special attention is employer contributions. In workplace retirement plans, an employer may add money when you contribute, depending on the plan. That is not just a tax wrapper benefit, it is additional compensation. If available, it can be one of the first things to understand before comparing other options. Now here is the key beginner lesson. A wrapper is not the same as an investment. You can often hold boring cash, broad funds, bonds, or shares inside the same type of wrapper. Asking whether an ISA or IRA is a good investment is like asking whether a backpack is a good textbook. The wrapper carries the thing. It is not the thing. Security selection means choosing which specific asset to own. Tax planning means deciding how to hold it. Many beginners chase small differences between similar funds, while ignoring a wrapper that could change the tax treatment for decades. The boring account structure may not feel exciting, but it can have a real effect on long-term results. Imagine two investors who buy the same fund and earn the same return. One holds it in a taxable account, where income and gains may create tax bills. The other holds it in a suitable tax-sheltered wrapper. Over many years, those tax differences can affect how much money remains invested and how smoothly compounding works. This is sometimes called tax drag. Tax drag happens when taxes reduce the amount that can stay invested. If part of your dividend, interest, or gain is paid out as tax each year, that money cannot compound for you afterward. Wrappers can reduce this drag, defer it, or sometimes remove it within certain limits. Once you understand wrappers, you can also understand asset location. Asset allocation is what you own overall. Asset location is where you place different assets across your wrappers. For example, some assets generate more taxable income than others. In advanced planning, people may place less tax-efficient assets inside more sheltered accounts. Asset location can be useful, but beginners should not let it become a trap. The first priority is usually simple. Build an emergency fund. Avoid high-interest debt where possible. Use suitable tax wrappers, and invest in a diversified way for long-term goals. Perfect tax optimization is less important than a plan you can actually follow. The first common mistake is choosing a wrapper only because it has tax benefits. Tax benefits are not free magic. They usually come with rules. There may be age restrictions, penalties, contribution limits, income limits, or limits on what can be held inside. A tax benefit is only useful if the wrapper fits the goal. The second mistake is ignoring access. Money for short-term needs should usually not be trapped in a long-term wrapper. If your car breaks down, your tax-efficient retirement account is not the same as cash in the bank. Liquidity matters. The right wrapper should match when you might need the money. The third mistake is forgetting that rules change. Tax allowances, contribution limits, withdrawal rules, and account names can change over time. That does not mean wrappers are useless. It means you should check current rules before acting, especially before making large contributions or withdrawals. The fourth mistake is thinking tax is the only factor. Fees matter, investment risk matters, diversification matters, your behavior matters. A tax-efficient wrapper holding an expensive, unsuitable, or risky investment can still be a bad fit. The wrapper improves the container, but it does not guarantee the contents are wise. A beginner can use a simple decision path. Ask what the money is for. Ask when you need it. Ask whether you need easy access. Ask what tax treatment the wrapper gives at contribution, during growth, and at withdrawal. Then choose investments that match your risk level and time horizon inside that wrapper. For money you may need soon, safety and access often matter more than tax efficiency or return. This might include emergency savings, rent, bills, or a planned purchase. A tax wrapper that locks the money away could be the wrong tool, even if it looks efficient on paper. For medium-term goals, the answer depends on flexibility. You may want some shelter from tax, but you also need to think about timing and risk. If the goal is important and not far away, taking too much investment risk can be more damaging than paying a little tax. For long-term retirement money, tax wrappers can be especially powerful because the time period is long. The longer money stays invested, the more important compounding becomes. If a wrapper helps more money remain invested or delays tax for many years, that can make a meaningful difference. So the big idea is simple. Tax wrappers are not loopholes for experts. They are basic financial tools. They decide how your money is treated by the tax system while it moves through your life. Used well, they can help your savings and investments work more efficiently. Used carelessly, they can create restrictions, surprises, or missed opportunities. Before asking what to buy, ask where it should live. That one question can make personal finance much clearer. The best wrapper is not the fanciest one. It is the one that matches your goal, your timeline, your need for access, and the tax rules that apply to you. If you have questions about ISAs, pensions, Roth accounts, traditional accounts, or any other wrapper, leave them in the comments. And if you want a future video on a specific country, account type, or tax choice, suggest it below. Your question might shape the next explainer.